Welcome to VACO's 2009 Gubernatorial Spotlight. November's race for Virginia governor pits Democratic candidate Creigh against Republican candidate Bob McDonnell. As one of only two states this fall with voters heading to the polls in a gubernatorial race, Virginia's contest is garnering national attention. For Virginia voters, the 2009 election is key on four fronts: jobs, education, transportation, and public safety. For all of these reasons, the Virginia Association of Counties has stepped forward, asking the candidates to answer your questions, to give you a rounded view of where they stand and where they will take Virginia in the next 4 years if elected. Here's Democratic candidate Creigh. First question. The economy is really the biggest issue facing Virginia voters, finding a job. What is your plan during the next 4 years in your administration, if elected, to create jobs for Virginians?
The first job of the next governor is going to be to restore confidence in the economy. We're in unprecedented waters. 300,000 Virginians unemployed. Huge challenge is faces in many Southwest and Southside Virginia jurisdictions, double-digit unemployment. I've got a multi-tiered approach. One, you've got to incentivize the growth of small business. 95% of the employers west of Richmond are employers who have fewer than 50 employees. They're small businesses. So I've got a plan to have a tax credit for every job created. It's very easy. You create a job, you get a tax credit. It's good for small business, it's good for all business. And the idea is you create a taxpayer so it evens out. It should have no negative effect on the general fund. We've got to basically create a culture of entrepreneurship. You create jobs, you give people the tools they need to support their family for a while. You create businesses. You encourage people to take risk. You create wealth. You allow for generational change to occur, for lives to change, and that's what America's all about. So you have to encourage the growth of small business. We also have to be about taking a two-tiered approach to building the field of dreams. The field of dreams, you build it and they will come. We build the smartest workforce in the world, and we do it by making sure every jurisdictional school system is performing. You also make college education more affordable and more accessible, and I've got specific plans for that. That's part of the field of dreams. State government's in the infrastructure business. So education, the other part's transportation. The first year I'm governor, we're going to get a transportation plan passed that allows us to create economic activity all over the state. And the last thing, well, not really the last thing, but another thing, I only have 4 years as governor. It'll be a busy time.
And that's a huge thing really to consider. Are you able to implement this during a 4-year term?
You have to be planning for the long haul, Lisa. You can't be just worried about what's going to happen in the here and now. You have to think about the future. You have to plan for the here and now, because people have to feed their families. We have to create economic success today, but we also have to build a foundation that's going to build success in the future. It makes me very proud to say that in the 71 years they've been giving states business grading our credit ratings, Virginia's the only state that's managed to maintain a AAA rating. It's one of the reasons why we continually get rated as the best state to do business in the country. We're relatively low taxes. We've got to keep a low tax structure. We've got to keep our regulatory structure intact. We've got to keep and friendly to business. We've got to keep our litigation system conservative and friendly to business. We've got to continually aggressively look for ways to capture the next big thing. The next big thing in Virginia, I think, where jobs are going to be built for the future, is in the field of energy technology. We can become the capital for the development of alternative and renewable energy sources. You can see different projects going on right now. We can capture the imagination of the public with a spaceport on Wallops Island, which I think has an enormous economic possibility. Stem cell research, we are perfectly positioned to capture the medical hope and the economic promise of that research and build the next economy in Virginia.
You started talking about education. Let's go back to that issue right now.
Sure.
Where does Virginia stand, and how can we improve?
Okay. Well, it's multi-tiered, okay? K through 12, we've got a great system, but I've got 3 priorities with K through 12 education. Number one, the best, smartest investment we can make in all of government is the investment we make in the development of young people. And that's the most important thing we as human beings do, is we prepare our children for success. The smartest investment we can make as a state is in the development, is preparation of children to start school learning. The most important thing we can do, I think, is to come up with more creative approaches to pre-K education. Are we going to be able to advance or capture, develop universal pre-K when I'm governor? I don't think so, but we're going to be able to work toward that. And we're also going to work with communities. We're going to work with the private sector to develop creative approaches to allow for more instruction and child care, more appropriate child care, because a child's brain is developed 90% of the way by the time they're 5 years of age. That's why we have to focus on pre-K. We've got to focus on bringing teacher pay to the national average, because the bottom line is you can't expect excellence if you're not willing to pay for average. Take Northern Virginia out of the equation. With Northern Virginia, we're 30th or 31st among the 50 states in average teacher pay. Take Northern Virginia out of the equation, we're somewhere between 39th and 47th in average teacher pay. We have a two-tiered system, or multi-tiered system in terms of opportunities we can offer children. We've got to address that. We have to focus, finally, in K through 12, on math and science education. The bottom line is we aren't going to solve the cancers that plague us. We're not going to solve our energy future needs if we continue to fall behind the rest of the world in math and science. So we have to incentivize the best and brightest young people to go into education, to teaching, the best and brightest teaching students to go into math and science, and the best and brightest science and math teachers to go into the toughest school divisions. So we offer opportunity to all of our children. Now that's K through 12. In higher education, the problem we have is higher education is not as affordable or as accessible as it needs to be, and we're pricing college tuition in the last 8 years has gone up 78% in our four-year schools. That's even before this fall's tuition increases go into effect. Pam and I have had three of our children. We have 4 children. Have had our 3 older in higher education system the last few years. We've experienced firsthand the frustration of increasing tuition payments. I've got a plan to stabilize tuition payments. I've got a goal over 4 years to making sure that every child who grows up in Virginia, who graduates from Virginia high school, who plays by the rules, and who can be admitted to a 4-year school is not going to be denied access because of money. And I've got a 10-year plan to create 70,000 new degree positions in our 2- and 4-year system to give more Virginians the opportunity to higher education, because that's the key to an individual's economic success.
Well, let's talk transportation. Another big issue, a very sticky issue here in
Sure.
Virginia. What's your plan to fix it? And better yet, how do we pay for it?
Yeah, excellent question, because that really it's the question that hinges on our ability to grow our economy as we go forward. Look at my record. I've not been afraid to step up and make tough choices on the issue of transportation over the years. I've looked at and tried to support just about any effort I thought might work, even if it was not my effort. Anything that might work to allow us to make investments in transportation. A lot of things haven't worked in the past. What I'm going to do as governor is bring people together, develop the consensus necessary, people that support me, people that don't support me, people from rural Virginia, people from inner cities, people from suburbia, Democrats, Republicans, cats and dogs, I don't care. If they're willing to roll up their sleeves and work to get something done, we're going to get transportation done, and we're going to get it done next year. It has to be done next year because of the 4-year term we were talking about. The governor of Virginia only gets 4 years. Your political capital declines almost from your inauguration. The first year is when my political capital will be at its height. I'm going to get a plan passed that'll have 3 broad aspects. Number one, it'll be long-term in scope. By that, I mean we're going to have to determine what modes of transportation are relevant to our lives, how we move more freight and more people by rail, how we incorporate ideas like high-speed rail, like light rail, like bus rapid transit into our system. It's going to be statewide in perspective. By that, I mean this. For too long, we've pitted one part of Virginia against another in the transportation debate. We can't do that anymore. We're a commonwealth. Now, there's no legal distinction between a state and a commonwealth, but commonwealth is a wonderful metaphor for the notion that we're all in this together. And a statewide transportation system is a statewide responsibility. It will be statewide when I'm governor.